Oh my goodness! Hey everybody, it's Dr. Joe and Pretty Callie, and today we're going to show you my top 7 ways to relieve peripheral neuropathy in the hands. So let's get started. Disclaimer alert! Disclaimer alert! So the best way to treat peripheral neuropathy in the hands and in the feet is to keep them moving. Exercise, stretch them, give them a lot of feedback. So the first thing to do is just kind of do some curls with your fingers. And I like to do them at each joint segment. That really just kind of helps get everything loosened up. So I like to start close and then work my way out to the end. So you're just going to do a full bend at that joint and then come back up. So this might be a little bit difficult, but if you can, try and keep the fingers straight and then just bend at that joint. You don't necessarily have to hold it. This is just kind of an active motion, curling the fingers. Do about 10. You can do 2 sets of 10 a couple times a day. These are really easy to do. You can do them anywhere, even if you're at work. Then you're going to move to the next joint and kind of curl down like this. I like to curl these in, so it's almost like a claw move while you're doing it, but then just kind of curling them in like that. So same thing, do about 10. You can do 2 sets of 10 as long as it's not increasing any pain in there. And then going to the last joint, sometimes I feel like you have to hold on to them a little bit depending on how much flexibility you have in the joints, or the other ones might try and start curling. So just kind of curling in like that. So same thing, just doing about 10 of those and then coming back out. You can add in the thumb if you want to then come into a whole fist, going open and closing just like that, curling the fingers in. So after you get those done, then you're just going to do a finger tap. And this kind of helps give the fingers some feedback as well. A lot of times with that peripheral neuropathy, those nerves are kind of dying away, those peripheral nerves. But if you give them feedback and sensitizing it, desensitizing the area, that kind of helps with it. So just doing some finger taps, taking your thumb and tapping each finger, making sure that you come back open each time you do it, that helps as well. So usually with these, I say go all the way through each finger, maybe 5 times. But the biggest thing is really make sure you're opening those fingers back up like that when you're doing it, so you're getting a good motion through all those fingers. You might get some tingling while you do it, and that's okay as long as it's not tingling that stays once you stop doing the exercises. So then after that one, you're going to start getting your wrist moving a little bit, because all of this is kind of connected. That peripheral neuropathy, depending on how severe it is, might be coming back up into your hands and your wrist area. So I like just kind of making a fist. You can bend your elbow, you can put it out straight. Putting out straight is a little bit more stressful. Bending the elbow is less. If you want to prop it up on a table, if your arm is a little sore or tired, or your shoulder, you can do that as well. I just kind of like bending it in like this. And all you're going to do is go in to flexion and then back into extension of the wrist. So in like that, get a little stretch. This one you can hold for maybe 3 to 5 seconds to get that little stretch on the end, and then coming back in that way. So again, it doesn't have to be a long hold, but just going until you feel a good stretch in there. So I'd say maybe 3 to 5 each way, with that little bit of a pause in between. And then so once you get that done, you're going to go into stretching, doing a full stretch of the wrist extensors out here, the ones that pull them up, and the wrist flexors in here that pull those fingers down. And again, since they're all connected, if you're working those, that will help with that peripheral neuropathy. So with this, you want to keep your arm straight, because that's going to help get all that stretching in there. So for those extensors on the outside, what you want to do is bring your wrist in, and you should feel that stretch there. So if you curl in your hand, that's the biggest stretch. If that's a little bit too much for you, you can just keep your fingers straight. If you're kind of in between and you want to do the stretch with the fingers, you can put a little bit of pressure over it to give it a stretch. But if you want a really big stretch, curl in your fingers and then give it a little bit of a push with your other hand. So with this one being a full stretch, you're going to hold it for 30 seconds and do that 3 times. Most likely, if you've got the peripheral neuropathy, it's going to be in both hands. So I'd recommend doing all these on both sides. So I like to alternate back and forth. So if you're doing this stretch, then take a little break, and then go into your wrist flexor stretches, which is kind of going up into a stop sign. So this one's a little bit different. If you curl in your fingers, it's less this time, and if you open up your fingers, then it's more. So if you want that big stretch, keep your fingers open and then give it a nice pull there, and you should feel that stretch underneath there. So again, 30 seconds, and then after that, if you want to switch, so you give it a little break in between, you can do that. That really is just nice because that gets everything just kind of loosened up in there, and then you can feel a little bit better, get a little bit more circulation in there to help with that peripheral neuropathy. Then the next one, you can either roll up a towel, or if you have like a tennis ball or a racket ball, something that's a little bit squishy, you can do a towel or a ball squeeze. And so with this one, this is really just to give you something comfortable in your hand, and it's just like it sounds, you're just going to squeeze it. So this one you want to hold for about 5 seconds. So I'm just squeezing, working those finger muscles in there, nice big squeeze, and then relax. And so you're probably just going to do this one 5 times for 5 seconds, so that nice squeeze. You can use something like a lacrosse ball, but it's a little bit firmer. I like the balls that give you a little bit more of a squish and gives a little, just because I feel like you can give a better squeeze on that. But if you just have something like a lacrosse ball, that's okay to do as well. And then you're going to strengthen in the opposite direction. So an easy way to do that is just take a rubber band. It doesn't really have to be a special band. It can just be something that was wrapped around your mail or a newspaper. And you're going to put the band just kind of at the tips of your fingers all around right there, but put it in enough so it's not going to pop out on you once you start to open up. And you're just going to open up your fingers like that. Now you probably won't be able to open them all the way up, and that's okay, but the biggest thing is to slowly come back in. So you're not just letting it pop back in like that. You're really controlling it both ways. So you're getting that exercise going out, and you're getting that exercise by controlling it back in. So this would be one where you go back to maybe doing 10 of them, 2 sets of 10, a couple times a day. And then the last thing I like to do is just to kind of stretch it out with a prayer stretch. And a prayer stretch is a lot of times for carpal tunnel syndrome. And the reason I like to add this one in is because sometimes that peripheral neuropathy might actually be carpal tunnel syndrome, or it might be misdiagnosed, but either way, it's helping kind of stretch that carpal tunnel in there. So if there's some nerve issues, if some nerves are, kind of getting pinched and tingling in there, this is going to be a nice way to end with stretching. So with the prayer stretch, again, it's kind of like it sounds. You're going to put your hands together like you're praying, and then you're going to bring your hands down and then push your elbows outwards. So you can see I'm getting a big stretch through here in that carpal tunnel area. And so again, since this one is a full stretch, you would hold that for 30 seconds and just do that 3 times. And a lot of times, even if it is a true peripheral neuropathy, even with this stretch, once you relax, it does feel a little bit better because you're just increasing the circulation, you're getting some of that tightness out of the area. Oh, yeah. So those are my top 7 ways to relieve peripheral neuropathy in the hands. If you'd like to help support my channel, make sure and click on the link up there. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking where? Down there? Yeah. And remember, be safe, have fun, and I hope you feel better soon.